We're here at the Coach's Corner in Ann Arbor having a little fun with our headsets, feeling like professionals right now because we are, James.
Yeah, well, I think these new headsets, a new look for me. And I'll tell you what, producer in my ear, we've got some rumors coming up,
yes,
it sounds like,
do.
next. So since we're going to get into these bad boys, Lena, take it away with the rumors.
All right, so our first rumor we talked about a little bit earlier, James Harbaugh, he is torn up. He stayed up all night on Tuesday after that loss to South Carolina. What can you tell me about this one?
Yeah, so the Michigan team flew back on Tuesday to Ann Arbor. He went into the office. He struggled all day with, just the fact that they lost 3 straight games. They blew such a lead that I think Michigan expected, hey, we're going to crush this team.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very good. And it sounds like with all the stuff we're going to talk about next, there was a lot of distractions around this Michigan football team with, coaches looking for other jobs. We've already seen Greg Fry take a job. We've already seen Brian Smith, the safeties coach, take another job. And multiple guys might be fired coming up. So with that, him and John Falk, Michigan's longtime equipment guy who now is kind of like an assistant to the head coach coming out of retirement to work with Harbaugh, stayed up all night till the break of dawn kind of laying out how they can fix this program. And hopefully he's got some renewed energy and renewed enthusiasm, because I didn't see the same Jim Harbaugh this year as I've seen in the past 2.
All right, before we get to the rest of our rumors, let's go ahead and do a little explainer for the folks at home to make sure they know what all these Harbaugh heads mean. So 0 Harbaugh heads means totally false. Fake news! 1 Harbaugh head is small shred of truth. People are talking is 2 Harbaugh heads. 3 Harbaugh heads mean it's pretty likely we expect this to be the truth. And 4 Harbaugh heads is F-A-C-K, fact. Jim Harbaugh spells fact like that, so do we here at Chat Sports.
Jim Harbaugh spells it F-A-C-K. That's how we do it.
All right, so that is your rumor-o-meter explainer. Let's now go ahead and get to our next rumor now, and this is going to be the one about Greg Roman. Now, we mentioned that it is 4 Harbaugh heads. I don't, little graphical error right now with 1 Harbaugh heads, but this is a F-A-C-K fact, James.
Yeah, so we're going to get this changed, folks. It's going to be all good, but Greg Roman will not be with Michigan, so we should toss that emoji on the screen. Sound on right now. If no one, people listen to the sound off. Greg Roman is going to stay with the Ravens. Those other 3 Harbaugh heads are eliminated at some point, it looks like. So let's move on from this one. Greg Roman will not be part of the Michigan staff next year. He will not be a coordinator. All right, let's take it to rumor number 3. Pep Hamilton, Lena, has an NFL job offer. I am calling this one F-A-C-K fact, Lena, because it sounds like he has 1, if not 2, not sounds like, we know he has at least 1 job offer to return to the NFL as a quarterbacks coach, and his agent is out there shopping him to a couple teams who showed interest in the past few years as an offensive coordinator, thinking he can get an offensive coordinator job, though. But if he does not have an offensive coordinator job offer by Monday, he will accept this offer to be a quarterbacks coach, and he will no longer be a part of the Michigan staff come the 9th of January when the 10th coaching position is opened up by the NCAA, and it kind of starts as floodgates of new coaches moving all over the place around the country.
All right, next rumor we have for you guys. Does Drevno have a new job title, James? We're giving this 3 Harbaugh heads. What can you tell me?
Yeah, so Tim Drevno, it's pretty likely at this point that Tim Drevno is going to be not the Michigan offensive coordinator anymore. I don't know who that guy is on screen there. That is not Tim Drevno. That is Dan Enos, but we'll get to it. Tim Drevno is going to have a new job title. He will not be the offensive coordinator. It seems pretty likely at this point. Tim Drevno will be the associate head coach, Lena, and the fully offensive line coach. Now the offensive line coach, Greg Fry, has moved on to Florida State.
All right, up next, we have a new one. Does we have a little beef? Oh, excuse me. Do we have Dan Enos? Is he coming in as our wide receivers coach?
Yeah, so Dan Enos is going to be announced as Michigan's football coach as early as Monday, possibly. Okay. And he's going to come in at the wide receiver coach. They are not going to announce a position, Lena, is what I've been told. And the reason for that is Jim Harbaugh is still out there looking for a potential offensive coordinator. So Enos is kind of coming in knowing that worst case he's going to get a wide receiver coaching job, and then they'll add the vanity passing game coordinator on it. And Harbaugh said, hey, if I don't get one of these other guys, we'll make you the offensive coordinator or co-offensive coordinator with somebody else potentially, the real guy, the guy who makes the play calls. But he knows he's coming in at worst the wide receiver coach / passing game coordinator, but there is still a chance he could be the main guy if Harbaugh strikes strikes out on some of these bigger name candidates we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes.
All right, 4 Harbaugh heads for that one. Up next, is there some beef between Enos and Dantonio?
There is beef like you couldn't believe, and so people were questioning this one all week, especially when we broke this story last week that this was becoming pretty likely. We talked about it on Wednesday that it was an FACK that he was coming, and now we know his position coach is going to be wide receiver. And so with that, why would he come? He's a Michigan State grad. He spent a lot of time on their staff under Dantonio, quarterbacks coach. He went to Central Michigan. Sounds like there was plenty of beef with Dantonio coming in last minute and stealing some Central Michigan players, some of their higher rated guys when Enos was the head coach there. And there was a little bit like, hey, I thought we were cool, we were friends, we worked together, et cetera, et cetera. Why are you stealing my guys? A little gentleman's honor was not being had between these guys. So apparently he doesn't like him because there was thoughts that he might return to Michigan State on their staff. Wasn't happening. Now he's coming in to Michigan. I'll tell you what the biggest thing about this is: great recruiter in the state of Michigan, one of Michigan State's best guys there, 2007, 2008, 2009, and now he's in Ann Arbor.
All right, up next, we have some new names emerging for that offensive coordinator position, James. So we're going to go ahead and take it to a full-screen graphic now. We have all of these names for you. So first, we have Cale Gundy, the co-offensive coordinator over there at Oklahoma. What you can tell me about him?
Well, so Cale Gundy is a interesting candidate. He is basically him and another guy we're going to talk about here at Oklahoma State are two. I'm just going to talk through him here, Lana. So Cale Gundy and Mike Urich are basically the Don Browns of this year's kind of coaching candidate. And that means is that they are leading the best offenses in college football right now at Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Those two offenses led the entire country in yards and production and points, all this stuff. And Gundy is the interesting one. So his older brother, who is his older brother? Well, it's Mike Gundy, who is Mike Urich's boss. And with that, those two guys are going to get a look just because of the powerful offenses we've seen out of the Pac, or those two teams in the Big 12 over the past couple of years. So Cale Gundy, what is holding him back from being considered, from what I've been told, is that I don't think Harbaugh doesn't believe that he is really making all the offensive calls. It's large game Lincoln Riley, who is really the offensive coordinator / head coach. So Gundy's more like a glorified wide receivers and quarterbacks coach. Now, Mike Urich has full control there. He has been with them for 4 years. A really interesting story. He was coaching at Shippensburg State in the middle of Pennsylvania, making $50,000 a year. Got a phone call, met Mike Gundy, Cale's older brother, at a restaurant there in rural PA. Got the job, got the offer, went to $400K overnight salary. So that is the one I think would be the home run, is Mike Urich. He has really turned Oklahoma State into one of the more exciting offenses we've ever seen in college football.
It was prolific this year. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. All right, so the other one's Lonnie Galloway. So Lonnie Galloway is an interesting because he is, these next two guys, Galloway and Kendall Briles, they're considering. I don't know if Jim Harbaugh has talked to these guys or he even will talk to these guys, but he is considering that that Lonnie Galloway and Kendall Briles will get interviews with Michigan. I think Michigan could get both of them because of the schools and the salaries that they are making. But as of right now, we don't know if they've been talked to. So Lonnie Galloway, he is the man at the end of the scandal called WikiLeaks. Now, what is WikiLeaks? If you recall, a couple years ago, he got suspended by the school because someone from the Wake Forest program leaked their playbook to him at Louisville, and they used it, and then it got tracked through a Freedom of Information Act request that he received this via email, so he got suspended. So a little scandal behind him. Kendall Briles is an interesting one. He's a young guy. He's not even 35 yet. He was phenomenal at Baylor as an offensive coordinator. Then he went to FAU under Lane Kiffin and really completely changed. When he was at Baylor, they were a pass-heavy team.
Right.
Air raid, right? He goes to FAU, and they're in top 5 in the nation this year in rushing, Lena. Wow. Top 5 offense, top 5 rushing. You won't find him in the top 30 or 40 for passing because they instituted a amazing rushing attack out of the shotgun. And Kendall Briles, if not for the fact that his Wikipedia page literally says, and I don't want to mince words here, it literally says that he encouraged rape amongst his players and asked African-American players if they like white girls because Baylor has a lot of them. I don't know how Jim Harbaugh can make that hire and look in the mirror and you don't want to touch that Baylor program. But on the other side, never charged the crime, never actually sued for anything and lost the case. So it could just be hearsay, right? And so you want to give the guy some level of credit. But what happened at Baylor? He is a very toxic candidate. His dad is amazingly toxic. And Art Briles, the former Baylor head coach, went to FAU, completely turned that program around. Lane Kiffin, a guy Jim Harbaugh has known for many a years, has apparently given him the this is a good guy. Don't worry about the stuff you've read, and has actually put him out there for this job. He wants to promote guys. Lane Kiffin wants to make sure he is getting his guys to better jobs. And the last one I want to talk about, Brian Wright, offensive coordinator at Toledo, knows the area, knows the MAC, which is kind of in that Big Ten. They have the same exact footprint. He would kind of be the backup candidate if he swung and missed. I think the guy at the top and the guy at the bottom are kind of like fallbacks if Michigan doesn't get one. And Urich is the target. Lonnie Galloway, Kendall Browse, they'd have to do a lot of investigation. Are these guys, is the juice worth the squeeze? But these are the 5 names that have emerged over the last 48 hours I want to talk about. If it's me, Mike Urich runs a completely different system than Jim Harbaugh, but Michigan's offense has grown stale, and with Shea Patterson and Dylan McCaffrey as the likely next quarterbacks, Lena, these are the guys that he needs to go after to modernize this offense.
All right, let's continue up with our rumors roundup, Michigan Wolverine style. Up next, Kurt Anderson. Now, is he going to join our offensive staff? You're giving this one Harbaugh head, but I want to know, why is this not fake news?
Because he's a Michigan guy, his family is well known in the Michigan community, and he's known Jim Harbaugh and his family for a long time. So I think there is a small shred of truth that Jim Harbaugh talked to him, and also Dan Enos was his boss just last year at Arkansas, coming onto staff. So I think he was considered, and he's a Michigan guy, but you can do a lot better than Kurt Anderson. They were the 97th rated offense, terrible rushing attack this year at Arkansas. I don't think he would even get a look if his last name wasn't Anderson and he didn't play for Michigan. So I think this one is a small shred of truth. Harbaugh might even take on a conversation with him, but he is not getting a job at Michigan from what I can tell you. Now, things could always change, but as right now, Kurt Anderson is not a candidate to be a part of the staff.
All right, up next rumor, Al Washington. Now, is he set to be a linebacking coach or a running backs coach with the Michigan Wolverines? We're giving this 2 Harbaugh heads.
Yeah, so this is just people are talking. I don't know what to make of this. I was for sure that when we're going to talk about another rumor coming up here about another coach, when a certain Michigan coach was being rumored to leave the program as a defensive coordinator, a co-defensive coordinator elsewhere, it sounded like Al Washington was going to come in to replace him as linebackers coach. And then we heard that Jay Harbaugh, Jim's son, was going to move from running backs coach to tight ends / special teams. And so now I'm hearing both things from people I respect that, he's going to replace Partridge as linebacker coach. No, he's going to replace Jay Harbaugh, running backs coach. I know he's going to be on the staff, so we can give he's going to be on the staff before Harbaugh. We did that on Wednesday.
Yes, we did.
But as of right now, people are talking. I don't know what to believe right now. He'll be a position coach. Not sure if it's linebackers or running backs, which is kind of weird. You don't want a guy who's kind of good at 2 things. You want the best guy at one or the other. So I'm not sure what to make of this one.
All right, we'll keep you guys updated on Al Washington. Up next, Chris Partridge. Is he going to Bama to be their defensive coordinator, James?
All right, so this is a very fluid situation. Like earlier in the week, I was hearing like it was likely he was gone.
Right.
He couldn't turn down what he's being offered. Making $300,000-$400,000 in Michigan is going to get a much higher offer that for Alabama. Like they're not going to pay that much for a linebackers coach. What's going on here?
Right.
And so we all know their linebackers coach or their defensive coordinator took the job at Tennessee, and they have an opening now. Right? He's sticking around for the bowl game, which is funny enough. So. Could Chris Partridge, 3 years removed from being a high school head coach, be Alabama's defensive coordinator? Maybe. It sounds like it was going to be one of these things. You will be linebackers coach with a vanity title of co-offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Maybe if we strike out on a few guys, but we'll give you a higher salary than Michigan. And the guy we'd also bring in, our top candidate for D coordinator, he is a candidate to take a job somewhere else. We want to groom him for a 2 or 3 year stretch, get him a big job like at Tennessee, like they just did, or like Kirby Smart going to Georgia. And if that happened, you'll be our new defensive coordinator. Of course, what Jim Harbaugh going into? Hey, what are they offering? 600, 700. We're going to match that, and I'll make you the same offer. If Don Brown retires, you're my defensive coordinator. So that was floated out there.
Yep.
It was talked about that he could be a kind of a DC in waiting at Alabama, but it sounds like Jim Harbaugh matched the offer, and he's going to be at Michigan for the foreseeable future.
All right, there you go. Exactly 3 Harbaugh heads in that one. Partridge 2 remain at Michigan. We're feeling good about this one.
Yeah, feeling good. It is pretty likely Chris Partridge will remain in Ann Arbor.
All right, up next, Devin Bush Sr. Now, has he been Michigan promoted the special teams coach. We're giving us 3 Harbaugh heads. What can you tell me?
Well, Devin Bush Sr. looks a heck of a lot like Devin Bush
Yes,
Jr. just
he
20
does.
years later. It's
It's
amazing,
amazing.
the resemblance in these guys. I literally
Genetics.
thought, and he's got the same hair too. I thought when I saw his picture, I'm like, man, Devin Bush Jr. is pretty
Same.
old. But but so 2 years ago, he was a high school football coach. In the last 2 seasons, he came up with his son as a defensive specialist. Basically, he kind of means he's a coach. Chris Partridge started that same role 2 years ago when he came over as a high school coach. And it's something that Jim Harbaugh uniquely has done, created these specialist positions or these analyst positions, promoted guys to coaches. So it looks like Devin Bush Sr. is going to be Michigan's special teams coach. There is a potential he could pipe in and also get like a safeties coach plus special teams. I doubt he'll get the full secondary, but it's going to really see how some shakes out with some of these other coaches. It all, Laner, remains, it's based around one thing. It is based around, do they get that all-star A-plus offensive coordinator, and then the chips will fall where they may around some of these other positions.
All right, second to last rumor we have for you guys. Ben Herbert, is he our new strength and conditioning coach? We're giving this one 4 Harbaugh heads, James.
Yeah, this is FACK because Michigan officially announced it, right? So we were one of the first ones to break this story about 2 weeks ago on the Michigan Football Report that Michigan had interviewed him, that he had come up, they expressed interest. Now, he got let go from Arkansas with Brett Bielema. He was Brett Bielema's offensive coordinator, or sorry, strength coach at Wisconsin for almost a decade, then for 4 or 5 seasons at Arkansas. And all you can say about that is Arkansas had a bad last season or two with Bielema and with this guy as Herbert as their strength coach. But they had some great seasons, including multiple Big Ten championships and the strongest offensive and defensive lines in America when he was at Wisconsin. So I think he impressed Jim Harbaugh in the interview process. I think he brought together a conditioning program that Jim Harbaugh liked, and I think I think Michigan's going to instantly see some gains in that strength and conditioning department that they prior to what they had before they fired the last guy.
All right, 4 Harbaugh heads for that one. Another 4 Harbaugh heads getting thrown at this one, James. Michigan is asking for players to grad transfer in on Twitter.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? So we've got Michigan putting out tweets that if any student is looking to pursue your graduate studies at the University of Michigan as a football player, to send an email to a Gmail. This almost seems like they were hacked, right? So it's pretty weird that this is happening. But I guess this is FACK because this is from the official Twitter account. It was tweeted out last week, and I was kind of wondering, is this like something they're going to take down? This is just strange, to say the least. But Michigan needs offensive linemen, that's for sure. That's really the only position of weakness if Shea Patterson gets that eligibility. So this is what they're doing. I don't really necessarily like the optics of it. I think there's better ways to go about it. I think they can call coaches, around the country. You might have players who are interested in transferring, whatever it is. But I don't like the look of this, but it is a fact, that's for sure.
FACK fact, and that was your last Michigan Wolverines rumor roundup. We will continue on with this segment the entire offseason. We have a lot of fun with it, and it is your Michigan football insider, James Yoder. He knows all about him.
Yeah.
But that is just about all the time we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Michigan Football Report, and we'll see you next time.